Hello again, it's me Mandala, and today I'm back to share another open world buildcraft video. The build I'm sharing today, I was kind of instigated into putting a video out because I saw a lot of people saying that Dragonhunter is a really terrible build for solo open world play, and I really heavily disagree with that, and I think I have a build that nobody else knows about. That's really awesome, so I decided to come here and share it. So this is a power open world Dragonhunter build. It's running full Demolisher gear, which is that again kind of new. It's been like a year plus now, I think. But power and precision, ferocity, toughness stat. I obviously have the benefit of legendary gear, so I can get this stat pretty easily. But it's a pretty nice build. So I'm gonna do a quick pull on the Golem, and then we're gonna talk about why this is actually isn't the worst open world class elite spec in the game. It's actually very, very good. So let's do a Golem pull, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so as you can see, 15-8. Uh, this may seem a little low for a power build, but this is actually really great for all the defensive traits and weapons and such that we're using. Um, you can get a higher number if you just like put on a great sword and just like full spin to win, full berserker gear, all this stuff. But you're actually going to be so useless if you do that. And so this build, again, I think 15.8 is really good for the way we have it set up. So to explain how the build works a little bit, like I said, this is full Demolisher gear. We're going to take Superior Rune of the Pack, which gives us precision, boon duration, and a little bit of power. We're running Hammer, Longbow, with strength and accuracy sigils, and then we're running the Relic of the Pirate Queen. So anytime we CC, use crowd control, we get quickness. All right, so this is how we get quickness on this build. This relic has really made this build like fun to me. I think you could probably have set this build up without it a long time ago, maybe, but this relic really just makes this build feel fluid and feel fun to play. And so this is kind of like the inspiration behind why I was messing with Dragonhunter at all, really. Um, but yeah, so that's your equipment. As far as the build goes, so we're gonna take obviously the Dragonhunter trait, and we're gonna take Zeal and Honor. So this is a really interesting one because at first you could have convinced me that I think Honor and like the Valor trait lines are just like complete garbage. Like Valor you can kind of take if you're a healer, but or Honor you could take if you're a healer. Yeah, Honor you could kind of take if you were a healer, but you could have told me before that this trait line is terrible outside of a heal class, but we're actually going to use it in a really interesting way. So let's go through Zeal first. So we're taking Zeal. Let's go through the majors first. So we're taking Wraithful Spirit. So Aegis grants boons when it ends. So this just helps shore up our Fury uptime and gives us access to permanent resolution if we're getting hit a lot, which is great. Next trait is Renewing Splendor. Heal yourself when you create a light field or finish a combo in a light field. Again, this is part of the reason why I said like we're running more of a sustainy build. That's why we're not taking Zealous Blade, which is just more power. You could take this if you wanted the 120 power, but I really don't, because we're not running Greatsword, so you don't get the full benefit of that trait line, that trait. But Renewing Splendor, really good. Every 3 seconds we get a 600 plus heal. And then lastly is Furious Focus. Your strike damage and movement speed are increased while you have Fury. Pretty awesome. Create a lesser symbol of blades when you activate Virtue Skill 1. Alright, so another symbol. This also helps shore up our Fury uptime. And then as far as the minors go, you have Symbolic Avenger. Your strike damage increased whenever your symbols hit a foe. You can start to see a symbol theme appearing here. So that's just plus 5% strike damage. And then Symbolic Exposure. Symbols inflict vulnerability on foes, deal increased strike damage to vulnerable foes. So 5% increased damage to vulnerable foes. And then you also get more vulnerability applied to your enemy, which helps sorry, which helps increase your damage a little bit too. Sorry for coughing. Oh my god. And then lastly, in the Zeal line, you have Zealot's Resolution. Cast lesser symbol of resolution when you strike an enemy below the health threshold. So an enemy below 75% health on a 30-second cooldown, you also can do another symbol on them, which is really nice. All right, next up is the Honor line. All right, and like I said, this is the line that I thought was pretty garbage until I found this build. So to go through what we're taking Protector's Restoration, cast lesser symbol of protection when you use a healing skill. Then we're taking Empowering Might, grant might to nearby allies when you critically strike, so this just helps shore up our might uptime. And then lastly, we're taking Writ of Persistence. Alright, symbols are improved and heal allies. So this is kind of like the centerpiece of the sustain in the build. So your symbols last longer, they're larger, and they heal 110 every pulse, which is a lot of healing. You'll see it in just a second. But to continue going over the traits, for the minors, you have Purity of Body. So your Virtue Skill 2 passive also regenerates Endurance, which is nice because this is a build that allows us to dodge and avoid attacks a lot, which is good because we also have access to Permanent Vigor. Then you have Selfless Daring. The end of your dodge roll heals nearby allies. Again, more sustain, more heal. Like I said, this is a trait line mostly meant for heal class, like a heal class in raids or strikes or fractals. I guess strikes are dead now. Raids and fractals. And dungeons. Haha, dungeons still exist. And then lastly, Vigorous Precision. Gain vigor at the end of your dodge roll. So like you can see, we can dodge. There's lots of sustain involved in this build. And then we just have this trait, Empowering Might, to shore up our might uptime. Lastly is the Dragonhunter trait. So we have access to the Dragonhunter virtues, right? Spear of Justice, Wings of Resolve, Shield of Courage, which these are, in my opinion, the best virtue actives. I really like all these skills. They're simple, they make sense, and they're really strong. And so that's one of the reasons why I think Dragonhunter is really cool. And I'm glad that I found this build to take advantage of it. So we're taking Hunter's Premonition. So trap skills grant Aegis when used. So every time you lay a trap, you're gonna get Aegis. All right, and you'll see why this is useful later. Next up is Zealot's Aggression. Deal increased strike damage to crippled foes. Justice's passive effect cripples enemies. So Justice passive, every few attacks, right, you apply Burning. It'll also apply Cripple now, in addition to that. So if I trade off of this real fast, you'll see, well, the Cripple stays there, but that's because that's for the active. But the Hunter, the Justice passive will also apply Cripple now, and that'll help increase our strike damage. And it plays into some of the other stuff in the build. Lastly, we're taking Heavy Light. So this is a cool skill now. A lot of people will tell you should just take Big Game Hunter always, but that's just incorrect, I think. Heavy Light gains stability when disabling an enemy, deal increased strike damage to disabled, exposed, or defiant foes. So I think stability is really overpowered, especially in solo open world. Like getting stunned and then just deleted is probably the biggest threat to your safety, is just like getting CC chained into oblivion and dying. So just having this access to like consistent stability to just prevent like the like awkward like, ooh, I got stunned and didn't have my stun break up because I used it to increase my DPS or something. This is a really helpful skill. It's also 15% damage increase to defiant foes, and then 20% to disabled or exposed foes. So exposed is just when you break the CC bar, and the CC bar is broken for that period of time, they're considered exposed. So that's what that exposed means. So as far as the minors, you have Pure of Sight, deal bonus strike damage based on your distance to the enemy. So the further you are away, the more damage you do. So this is because when Dragonhunter released, it was actually with this longbow. And so the idea was to focus on like these long range, like you see, like True Shot has a 1500 range, 1200 range, 1200, 1200, 1200. So it was about dealing damage from afar, which is really good because I think this is one of the few builds that I've ever made that utilizes a ranged weapon effectively. I think it's really hard to find like a ranged weapon that really does what you want at range, and this is one of them. So I really like that part of this build too. But going on from that, Defender's Dogma, gain vitality, so we just get base plus 180 vitality, and then blocking an attack causes Justice to reach its maximum charge. So Justice is just the virtue passive, right? Burn foes every few attacks, so it just increases your Justice proccing. And then on top of that, reaches maximum charge and reduces the cooldown of Spear of Justice. So when you proc Aegis, like blocking attack, so blocking any attack, not just Aegis, but blocking any attack, reduces the cooldown of Spear of Justice, which is your active, right? Is just throwing the spear and doing damage, right? Throw the spear, do damage. All right, that cooldown is reduced every time you block an attack, which is good. So now that we've gone over the traits, all right, and all that stuff, I'm gonna do another Golem Pull with the moderate damage on, so you can see, like, I think the biggest complaint that I saw from other people who do open world, like solo open world buildcraft, is they say that Dragonhunter has no sustain, right? It can do a good burst damage, but it has no sustain, and when you trade in sustain, it doesn't do any damage. But I think I've set up this build to where it does good damage, at least decent damage, and it has really good passive sustain. So to prove that, I'm going to do another Golem Pull with the moderate damage threat set on, and then we're going to talk about why it's, like, what it's actually doing to heal and stay alive. So I'm going to do that Golem Pull real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
A deadly raid squad is a happy raid squad. Practice your skills using our state-of-the-art golems.
Alright, and you see I did an even better pull on damage pressure. We did an even better pull. Awesome for me. Sometimes the bursty power builds, I don't know why this is, but sometimes they just, like, randomly don't do the damage you want them to do. I'm not sure exactly what goes on there. But that time, 16k. So this is about what I've been hitting. It was around 16, right under 16, right at 16. But like you see, very good passive sustain. I did hit Litany of Wrath once, but that's just because that's just like out of habit. I didn't really need to touch it at all. I would have healed back up without it. And we actually have a lot more safety, a lot more defensive utility in this build than can be shown on the Golem. So to explain that a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the reason why we're taking Hammer specifically. So to go over Hammer, this is not a weapon people would probably tell you is like super great on Guardian, but I think this is a really awesome weapon. I think they reworked it recently, and the way it works right now is really cool. I'm not sure if it worked this way before they reworked it, but it's helping us do a lot of really interesting things. So the first interesting thing, so initially when I was setting this build up, instead of running this honor trait line, I was running virtues, and I was trying to play around glacial blow and CCing to heal. But then I realized that this trait line, the virtues trait line, is really trash on any build that doesn't have access to Condi damage. Like, it's just not doing enough DPS. It's just not doing enough for the build, and that's when I switched to honor. But because of this, I was messing around with hammer a lot, and that's what led to finding out this build. So if I go back to honor and put us back on where we were, rates this stuff. Yep. Okay. So to explain why hammer is good, all right, we have to understand the interactions of the symbols. So writ of persistence, renewing splendor, and then the hammer auto attack. So the hammer auto attack chain, every third attack you do is generating a symbol, the symbol of protection, which gives you access to prot, and it lasts 4 seconds, and it's a light field. So every 3 seconds your light fields are healing you for 600. So even if I don't have quickness, right, let's ignore generating quickness for a little bit, and I'm just going to show you the hammer auto attack chain with the mildly threatening on. So I'm going to turn this to mildly, or like, here we go. I'm going to turn this to mildly threatening just to demonstrate the healing of this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to use a different symbol at first. So we don't even need the golem yet. So here's how it works. So the symbols have increased duration now, and now they also heal 110 every pulse. So you can see my virtue passive, this one, the wings, the resolve passive healing me, the 86 there. But if I cast a symbol, right, this has 7 pulses, so you're going to see 7 110 pulses. You saw the light field, which was the 600 something, but then it's 7 110 pulses for the symbol on the ground is healing me. So the cool thing about this, so I respawn previous golem, and we're doing the hammer auto attack chain. So even without quickness, this actually lines up really well with renewing splendor. So I go in here and I'm taking damage. I'm healing with the resolve passive, but every 3 autos, I'm generating a symbol, which is a light field, which heals me for 600, and these light fields are stacking, all healing me for 110. So you can see how, if you see all these numbers, right, it's basically, you can have like 2, maybe even 3 symbols at once from the hammer auto. And so you see I'm at full sustain just with these hammer autos. I'm not doing anything else, right? All I'm doing is autoing on hammer, and I actually have a lot of might stacks too because of the way we have this set up. Just autoing on hammer, I'm getting access to perma prot, and then like 15 plus stacks of might, and I'm healing this thing. I could probably even turn it to moderate and still stay mostly healthy. Let's see. Golem, let's try. I've not tried this yet, so you guys will get to see me try now. Okay. So now with the moderate setting, right, we're healing a ton. Because we're not taking a lot of damage because we have a lot of armor, really high armor because of the toughness. And so we're doing a decent job tanking the moderately threatening, right? So I'm doing this. I literally could probably just hit Litany of Wrath and fully kill this golem just with auto attacking with no quickness on hammer, which is pretty crazy. Like, that's a ton of sustain. This is a lot of survivability here. And you have other options too, right? So the hammer 3 is barrier, so we generate barrier off hammer 3. Wings of Resolve is a big heal, right? See, that healed us to full. Alright, we can generate another light field with Ring of Warding. This is the worst part. This is the worst part about the build, I think, is that the hammer 5 is just like almost straight up useless. If that skill did anything, we'd be in business. But as you can see, we're tanking the moderately threatening, and we're not even, like, look at our damage. What's going on here? Like, we're actually doing okay. Like, just with the hammer autos. And I won't keep going, but almost 10k damage just from auto attacking on hammer with no quickness. Remove current golem. But you can see that there's a lot of just passive sustain now on this build, which is something that I think a lot of people would say doesn't exist on Dragonhunter. but I found this setup which does give you a lot of passive sustain. So on top of that passive sustain, we have a lot of active and reactive defensives. So like I said, Wings of Resolve, big heal, 4K heal on here. Um, you have Litany of Wrath, right? Heal yourself for a brief time, heal yourself based on percentage of damage dealt. So this is similar to like the Berserker skill. This one existed first, I think. Litany of Wrath, so for 6 seconds, 33% of your damage dealt is returned to you as healing. So literally press this, you'll heal the full right away every time. Um, because you do, right, like 15k damage per second, you're healing like 100k over the 6 seconds or close to that. Maybe a little less, yeah. A little less than 100k, like 90k over that time. So you're just full health every time you press this button on a 20-second cooldown. Um, Other defenses, right? Shield of Courage. This is actually my favorite courage virtue in the game because it's a full block from the front. So this barrier just blocks all attacks for 3 seconds in front of you. It resets your Aegis, and it's a stun break now. So this is just a really um, great reactive ability to use, really helpful in open world. And then like we talked about, you're generating quickness from CCing, so you have a lot of CC, and we're also taking right heavy light, which gives us stability every time we CC. And so altogether, you have stability, you have prot, you have really high toughness and armor, you have really good passive sustain, you have really good active recovery abilities as well. And so this build is just very, very good. Like I would say like I'm like not to like I've not tier listed all the builds out, but like I would say this is S tier build for open world if you're good at utilizing the tools that it gives you. So like
Welcome.
to
Feel
just
free to approach
showcase the
the
sustain
console and
even
begin
more for
combat
1 second.
practice.
So
If you have any questions, I'm all ears.
put on extremely threatening. So even on extremely, you can't full tank extremely threatening in the Golem room, but that's just specifically because of how the training simulator, the training room sets this up. It's just constant sustain damage, but that's not really how damage works in open world on hard encounters. So you actually are much tankier than this uh, makes it seem. But even on this, you can tank this for a decent while. Like we won't be able to tank it fully. I'm gonna reset. I hate that that thing is not doesn't line that box doesn't line up quite right. Okay, so but we're just gonna tank this really quickly just for a little bit. But you can survive in here for a little bit. Like I used my Litany of Wrath too early, but you can survive in here for a little bit, especially if you dodge roll. So you can almost tank this. It's just a little bit too heavy. The damage pressure is just a little bit too heavy for the sustain you have, so you can't quite make it to the Litany of Wrath each time. As you go further and further, you could probably set it up to where you could, but I like how it's set up right now. So you can, like I said, the sustain is really good. You can almost get through uh, the extremely threatening in the Golem room, which is crazy. Like builds that can do that are insane, and there's reasons why this build is better than those builds in some way because of something we haven't talked about, which is Aegis, right? Aegis is unique to Guardian mostly, but this build utilizes Aegis in a really interesting way. So every time you use a trap, you set Aegis, all right, which helps you block like really powerful attacks. So to demonstrate this, we're gonna go actually to the Path of Fire expansion. Actually, let's do the Heart of Thorns one first. Let me just show you like the normal one I always do, the chalk, and then after we do the chalk, we'll do the Path of Fire one. So, like I said, the passive sustain is good, but what's even better is your reactive blocks. So every time you cast an Aegis, every time you cast a trap, you set a trap, you get Aegis. So you can just chain trap, chain Aegis, and block every attack that comes toward you. So there's people in here right now. Do we help them? So I always look. I'm like, what are their mastery levels? Do they want help? They're doing fine. We'll just wait. Okay, so I'll explain this out here while we wait for them. Okay, so the way it works, right, is every time you lay a trap, you get another proc of Aegis. So you already have the passive Aegis before we go into a fight. So you have this Aegis stack here. All right, if you use Dragon's Maw, you get another stack. If you use Procession of Blade, you get another Aegis. If you use Light's Judgment, you get another Aegis. And every time you proc an Aegis, you're going to get Wrathful Spirit proc, which gives you Resolution uptime and Fury uptime. So because of this, you can reactively block a lot of really big, powerful attacks from your foes. And so if you're willing to learn the boss patterns, the attack patterns of the boss that you're having trouble with, this build becomes exponentially better because it has access to all these blocks. So you can just block the most threatening attacks and then out heal the other ones. Oh god, I showed myself too early. I'm gonna leave. Oh, don't stay. Everyone's so nice in Guild Wars 2. They always try to help you. And I'm like, no, leave. Leave me alone. I don't want it. Go away. I'm not here. I'm hiding. Okay. I feel like, ugh, they're just waiting. I promise I'm not doing it. I promise. Okay, should be good now. We are doing it, but we can't let them think that. Okay. So, this one you can kind of just go full tilt. Like you don't have to Aegis, you don't have to worry about the Aegis chaining because you can kind of just full sustain through this. Oh. And I just dodge roll out of those because if you get enough stacks of that, he just freezes you, which is no fun. Or she. I'm pretty sure these are like technically like moms, but there we go. Oh, what is going on? Why is the music so intense? Oh, I see. Okay, music's going crazy here. Actually. Alright, oh my god, it's so intense. Okay. We're gonna pop out of there. Okay, but as you can see, like normal, you can just like full sustain, like AFK, handle stuff like that. It works in that way. Like you can play it at the most base level, like you play a lot of the other builds in the game, but you can also play it at a much higher level, and use Aegis chaining to systematically block all of a boss's hard or heavy hitting attacks. So to help us, which one do I want? Which one is it? Is it this guy? I think I have to go back to the other thing. I don't know where that... The way bounty boards work is so weird. Okay. Where's the guy I want? Is he over here? It might just be... Chief Cronon. Is it this guy? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We'll just pick whatever. Sure, why not? I've not done this boss. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. But hopefully, we'll be able to learn the patterns and figure it out. There was another one I was trying to find, but I don't remember any of the names. There's like a million bosses in Path of Fire to go fight. So if you're wanting to like test out a build really hardcore, you can just go do champion bounties by yourself. It's kind of a big ask because a lot of them are really annoying to do solo because they're just designed to punish you. Like the way Guild Wars 2 designs its open world encounters, it's kind of like they just kill random people on purpose and there's nothing you can do about it just because it makes the boss look more threatening. But we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it's not one of those where it's just like impossible to do solo. But I mean, it won't be impossible to do. But okay, this guy's fine. This guy's fine. I think this is actually the guy I was looking for. Just in a different spot. So you can dodge. So you can see his big windup, and so I can either evade it, or I can... Oh, didn't time that right. Oh, and there's my dog going crazy. There's a squirrel. So if I time this better, I Aegis that one that time, and it still knocked me up, but it has Aegis. Alright, I'm gonna mute, but you can watch as I die to this boss. Okay, I think she's done barking. Alright. So I proc my Aegis, and then I block the attack, right? Then he goes for that attack. I'm not going to block that. I'm going to die here, though. Okay, I'm going to evade. But you're going to see, so I'm going to wait for his next big attack. I'm going to block that. Wait for his next big attack. Oh, didn't time that right. But I can use my Shield of Courage. Heal back up with Litany of Wrath. So you see, you have a lot of reactive skills. You can use your dodge, right, because we have Vigor and we heal at the end of dodge roll. So I can use Aegis to block that. And I cast another Aegis, reset Aegis again so I can block this attack. Open, he hit me anyway. Oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I'm playing poorly, I'm gonna die. Ugh. Okay. Alright, we're back. So the worst thing you can do is get CC'd while you're casting your Litany of Wrath, because then it goes on a longer cooldown. Alright. Okay, I think we're back. But as you can see, because we regenerate Vigor so fast, we can actually use our dodge roll, which is awesome. And we can reactively Aegis stuff, which is cool. A lot of damage to me. Just leave me alone, buddy. Alright, so Aegis that. I cast another one to reset Aegis. Aegis again. Cast another one to reset Aegis. Aegis again, but that's a multi-hit, so he gets me anyway. Another Aegis. Block that. As you can see, this guy has a lot of heavy-hitting attacks that we can just kind of Aegis through, or we can use our dodge roll like a normal human. So Aegis again. We timed that late. Okay, but there we go. So Champion Bounty done. You see, we have lots of sustain, lots of passive sustain, lots of active defensive abilities. Right, even a hectic situation where I'm like muting my mic, unmuting my mic, running around doing weird stuff. Able to kill the boss pretty easily. You just have a lot of options. So the biggest thing, the hardest part about playing this Dragonhunter build is that your max HP pool is really small, right? You only have like 1500 HP the way I have set it up right now. I don't think I have the full Jade Core on here now. I just have a tier 1 on here, but that's the biggest threat. Is like you saw, his big hitting attacks, even with prot, like almost take you really low, and so you have to react quickly if you do end up getting low. The hope is that with your access to permanent prot, really high armor that you don't end up getting that low. But there are some bosses that just, like I said, like the way Guild Wars 2, the way ArenaNet designs these open world group encounters is they're kind of designed to just like take some people out, just for the heck of it. So sometimes that's you, because you're a guardian and you have the lowest HP pool in the game. You have good armor, but you don't got the HP. No HP for us. But again, really cool build, I think. Lots of, like I said, the Aegis chaining is really fun. If you learn a boss's patterns and you understand how they work, you can combo dodging and Aegis to just completely ignore all the damage they do. So like if I were to go back to the chalk one, we could do the same thing there. Is you could literally just ignore all the damage that she's doing by mixing your dodges and your Aegis, instead of just relying on your passive sustain. Is you could just outplay the boss. Anyone in here? Nope. Okay. So let's try it again, and this time, instead of just doing my full like burst combo, I'm gonna try to Aegis chain and dodge all her attacks, and we'll see how it goes. Dodge that one. We're gonna reproc Aegis here. Aegis block that, and we see Cedar, which is good. Alright, we're gonna move out of the AoE. We're gonna block this one. We're gonna block the second version of that one. We're gonna block that with that. I don't have a stun break anymore, so I'm probably dead. Alright, dodge this a little bit. Alright, I don't have a stun break. Like I said, that's your most, that's where you die. That's where you die. And I'm not using hammer enough. Yep, this is where we die. She's gonna stomp us. She's gonna stomp us. Ah! Alright, so you see, right? You need to make sure you save your stun breaks, because that's where you're gonna die. Alright, you're gonna die with stun breaks. You're gonna die if you get CC'd, because the HP total is low. But if we go back here, right? And this is part of the like transparency, is sometimes you just die to random stuff in Guild Wars 2. Like sometimes you just played wrong, played poorly. She's charging me. Okay. This time we're gonna use our Aegis and stuff properly. We're gonna use Litany of Wrath, and we're not gonna use Save Yourselves for no reason. Facing the wrong way. I hate that. I'm playing so terribly. What am I doing? Now I'm just trolling. I don't know why I'm trolling. She's gonna stop us again. I promise this build is good. I'm literally just trolling. I think the issue is that I don't have quickness. Like I said, this is why quickness is so valuable. Is because I'm not spamming my abilities, I'm not generating quickness fast enough. So I'm just gonna get my quickness up first. Okay. And then I'm gonna worry about blocking. Okay. Now that we have quickness generated, now we're gonna worry about blocking and dodging stuff. I'm also gonna take out the little, I hate these little shits.
For over a century. It will not fall this day.
I think it's stuck. Come over here. Stop being stuck. So there we blocked with Aegis. Use Litany of Wrath. Dodge one of those to heal through this. Use another Aegis proc here. Gonna use that too early. So I have to dodge. Use Aegis proc here. I'm gonna block this with the frontal. Like you can see, you can play very reactive here, and that's different from a lot of the builds that I make. No reason. Okay, there we go. So the reason that was going harder is for two reasons. Is one, I wasn't going through my rotation fast enough. I wasn't switching to hammer, and so I wasn't getting my prot generated. And secondly, like I said, I wasn't generating quickness fast enough, and so I was without quickness, without prot, and so literally any of her attacks could just instantly down you. But that's the danger, right, of playing a low HP build, is that if you're not playing it well, you can get nuked. But like I said, if you play this build well, you can outplay a lot of stuff. So if I go back to just like, I'm just gonna do the spam. So take advantage of the fact that we are CCing her to Oblivion at the beginning. Block this one. Yeah. And when I go through my rotation, it works a lot better. Who'd have thunk? So yeah, faster, better. Faster, better. This build has a lot of CC, so you kind of just negate everything she's doing. You don't have to Aegis Chain, right? So this is not a boss I would recommend the Aegis Chain on because she's doing a lot of like small hits of damage, and so you end up wasting Aegis a lot. There we go. Right. So it's a good build. You just have to play it right, and I think that can be intimidating to some people. Like some people just want to play Power Reaper, or like a build that I haven't shared. So if I like switch characters real fast, so this is a build I haven't shared. So this is my Paragon open world build. It's very easy, but it just lacks character like almost completely, which is why I haven't shared it. It's actually a very strong build, but just like it's just without character. It just doesn't have like it's just not like a fun build to play. Like this will do all the things you want it to do, but it's just too boring, and which is why I haven't shared it. But this is the build I use just for my open world, just because it's easy. Like I like to play to just like watch, like enjoy the story and the world building and like explore things. So that's why I use this build. But it just lacks character in comparison. It actually does a lot lower damage too. But this is just kind of like a blind nuke class. But like I said, just lacks character. Like you're literally just like pretty much AFK playing hammer. You have a lot of stab. You have reactive abilities, but it's just like it's just kind of boring. Like there's just not anything going on in this build. Whereas I think the Dragonhunter build, just like I said, has a lot of character. Like you're not just like AFK doing nothing the whole time, like you are in a build like this. Like this is a great build if you just want to like turn your brain off and not enjoy the gameplay at all. But it's a horrible build if you like playing video games. Right, so you saw like I did that pretty easily with this build, but like I said, it's just characterless. You have so much HP, you have so much tankiness, you're doing okay damage, but not really. You have stab and all that stuff, so and you can just get all this damage off. But if I go back to Dragonhunter just has more character. Like it's a real build. You have half the HP, which makes it harder. But I think that's part of the joy of the open world, is that sometimes a build is good because it's a little harder. It asks more of you. So last thing I wanted to do, right? The Tarrier music is so intense. Is just explain some of the quirks. So I think the hardest thing about this build to get used to is that the Dragonhunter bow, longbow on Guardian is just a little quirky. But like I said, I think it gives it character. So like, if we go in here, to just go over the Guardian skills a little bit more. Alright, and we'll also talk about the utilities, because I actually don't think I've mentioned what the utilities do. Right, so there's a few important things you should know. So your CC skills are your big 5 Hunter's Ward and your deflecting shot, your 3. So you can cast 3 while moving, alright? 4 you can cast while moving, but 2 roots you, and 5 roots you, and if you move after you cast it, you will stop casting it, right? So if I cast 5 and then I try to move, I break the channel, and it won't cast. So if you're already moving and you press 5, it'll root you, and then it'll start you moving again. Same with 2. If you're already moving and you don't press another button, then you're good to just cast it while you're moving, but it will root you. Right, so I'm moving, and then I want to cast this, it's going to root me, and I keep going. I move, and I want to cast this, it'll root me, and I keep going. So as long as you don't, like, double tap your forward motion, you're good to cast them while moving, right? But if you add another input, right, like I just did there, right, if you add another input, it'll cancel it. So just make sure you're completely still. Don't spam anything, or you'll cancel the cast. Alright, so just don't cancel your 2s and 5s, and it's all good. Everything else you can do while moving. You can cast 4 while moving, you can cast 1 while moving, you can cast 3 while moving. Alright, it's just your 2 and your 5, you need to be still. Alright, the other reason why this build has character is because you can do all this cool stuff from ranged, right? Is you can handle a boss, alright, from afar. You have lots of useful skills when you're at range. Alright, and then when you're ready to close back in, you can get back in there. Alright, do your melee stuff. Lay all your traps down. Alright, and then get out of there. And go back to your range stuff. Right? Very cool, very fun. Alright, last thing to talk about is the utility skills. So, we're taking Litany of Wrath, which you saw. For CC, we're taking Save Yourselves. I think this is just really good because it gives you all these boons, alright, which can help shore you up in an emergency. You get regen, you get pride, you get resolution, you get vigor, you get all this stuff. There's other stun breaks you could take, but I like this one the most because I like the upfront boons. I like just getting all the boons. Next, you're taking Light's Judgment, so this is a CC skill. Also applies to Aegis. The reason this skill is kind of weird, the only reason I hate this skill is actually has nothing to do with gameplay, is because it's so bright. Like, it just pulses this light, and it's like very obnoxious. So just be wary that like you're gonna go blind playing Light's Judgment, but it's okay. Alright, next up is Procession of Blades. This is your big damage. This shores up Fury uptime. Alright, and this is the like spinny blades that does a lot of damage. Really good damage skill. Lastly is your Elite Dragon's Maw. So this gets you upfront might. It does slow. And yeah, decent damage too. So it just claws up, moves everything close together, which allows you to use your other traps. Alright, do a bunch of damage. Alright, this is why that opening burst is so good, is because of all your traps, right? If you take the traps off the build, then you might as well just play this on a different build. But with the traps, like I said, it's very good because you can Aegis Chain, and you can just go full, like, you can just go crazy and just spam everything and do a bunch of damage. Alright, anything else I want to talk about with the build? So, sorry for dying to the chalk a couple of times, but I think that showcases just, like, why Dragonhunter struggles in comparison, is just because of Guardian's low HP. So if you're not running Selly gear, your HP is low, and so if you do end up getting hit by something when you didn't have Prot, and you didn't have a stun breakup, you might die. But like I said, you can always come back and redo the boss and outplay it, because this build has a lot of outplay potential. It does have a lot of passive sustain, and it does decent damage. So hopefully this is a cool build, and I'm glad to break the meta here a little bit. I'm surprised that no one else knows about this build. Again, ignore the fact that I died. That was just because I was playing poorly. Alright, so really cool build, and I hope you guys like it. This is a really fun one. I really enjoy playing this build. I'm actually going to start playing this build a lot, because I've started to like it more than the builds I am playing, because like I said, it's just got a lot of character. It's really cool. It plays well even when you're not trying really hard. It's an interesting build to play. All the buttons you press feel impactful and feel cool. and it feels unique from a lot of other builds that are just kind of like face roll the keyboard and see what happens. You can still do that on this, but you don't have to, and when you don't, it's still really cool. So this is Open World Dragonhunter. Hopefully you like this build, and yeah, I'll see you next time. See you later, bye.